Up. This one's gonna be a lot about Atlanta missing and murdered part two. Watched the second part last night, and so you start to see where black children were killed, where Maynard Jackson was. He even got to go see Ronald Reagan, but you could tell that there was an old good old boy system and a Martin and such tightness going on. Maynard and Lee Brown, the former chief of police in Atlanta, who later became the one in Houston, Texas. I remember Lee Brown. There was a discord. People that were vigilant, people just going out, found bodies. Police weren't doing nothing. Wonder why? Because when it's black on black crime or black folks, it's just not the same. Unless there's some, unless it becomes some money involved or something. You notice. I remember back in '81, and they showed the Jacksons at the airport where Michael Jackson got a big applause. Frankie Beverly and Mays, Rick James, Prince. There were a lot of prominent African American artists who either donated or acknowledged the Atlanta child murders. It was a big thing. And the thing about it was when it started getting more headlines. But the thing was, it's interesting at the end and the middle. Did Wayne Williams actually do it? And the people can't say definitively. You see, if you still are asking and not sure 40 years later, that tells you there was a rush to judgment. Now, he ain't Mr. Squeaky Clean, but at the same time, you gotta kind of do some scientificness to it. That he does it really add up? So it's very compelling, very scary. I remember the time very well. Being a young black boy back then, man, I was I was on the East Coast, on down south, but I wasn't trying to be alone, because this stuff was frightening. This was some freaky thing. And it was a freaky, scary time. It doesn't get talked about near enough. Well, you hear other young black boys talking about it, but it was a pretty scary time. I mean, to see bodies being thrown over and they're finding them and it's on the news, you know, and you just the first thing you think of is the Klan, or you think about this and that. And common sense says it wasn't just one person involved, whatever it was. So it's leading itself to they're getting into the Wayne Williams aspect when he was had his own radio show, and he met with very prominent African American people in the community, such as Julian Bond and amongst others. Talked to a lot of different folks. So um, he was running a talent show and telling people that you could be the next Michael Jackson and looking for talent and all that. And so, on one hand, he looked like a young black Bill Gates. I mean, he was very dignified as far as what he nerdy, but he knew his stuff. But stuff just doesn't seem to add up. But anyway, that was part two. It was, very takes you back, heavy on the heart. And again, there's so many things that you just, it's hard though to psychologically take it all in because it just seems like yesterday. And for the families, it feels just like yesterday, and it's a hard nightmare and a hard pill to swallow 40 years later. So that's my thoughts and takes about the Atlanta uh, murder and mystery part two. I will be doing a video pretty much every week on this because it's something that it still has a lot of unanswered questions. It doesn't feel like it's conclusive. But give me your thoughts and takes about the Atlanta murders and the mysteries of the children, missing children. And do you think there was Wayne Williams? Do you think there was somebody else? Do you think there was a Klan in man involvement? What's your take? Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell rings. A new video. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for one another. And these stories are still compelling. They still aren't finished. I'm out.